Thank you so much for joining me again. My name is Dr. Jen Otter Bickerdike, and I'm an author and academic. But who cares about me? We're here to see the man, the myth, the legend, Vince Power.
Hello.
Hello. I have to say, you are very well preserved. You're very handsome. If I wasn't married, there'd be a little situation happening here.
It's very nice of you.
How do you look this good? The ups, the downs. What is the what's the magic? Is it the wine, the women, the song?
It's a little bit of everything.
Is a little bit of everything. Okay.
I think having 8 kids is probably a help.
8 kids.
Yes. 8 grandchildren.
8 grandchildren.
8 ex-wives.
Well, that. Are you looking for number 9? Ladies.
Yes, why not?
Yeah. So let's go back, because there's so many. When I told people that I was going to be interviewing you, Vince, I got either, oh my God, legend, or oh my God, he's terrifying.
It's probably the latter.
You think so? I should be scared right now?
No.
Well, can we start at the beginning? Because reading your bio, I'm fascinated and want to hear everything. The first thing is, though, you grew up in Ireland. Were you expected to stay in the farming community that you grew up in and do that? Was it like you're this weird maverick wanting to bust out and go to London?
Yeah, I think there's something made me go away from the place, but I wasn't in a farming community. We grew up, it was a farm community, but we were very poor. We grew up in a very small cottage with 11 of us there. So there was always an urge to get out, and I left when I was 16. I came to my auntie in Hertfordshire. Came back home a few times, couldn't stand it there. Eventually came to London, and eventually stayed.
Were you the only one of your friends and family that left?
Initially, I was the only one for a couple of years. But then a few of my brothers came over, and we stayed in London, basically around the same area of Kilburn, Cricklewood, all that area. So sometimes I got as far as West Hampstead when I made money, and then back in again to Kilburn. And I'm now back in Kilburn again.
I know we're going to get there. Lots of stuff going off, it sounds like, for you. Lots of opening new venues. But just as a lover of vintage furniture, though, could you? When I read that, I was like, you know what? It's amazing all the festival works, all the gigs he's done, but he knows some good vintage furniture. Could you just bring us back to your quick days as a demolition man and almost dying?
Well, I started working with a demolition company, and I got the idea that inside houses there were just so much furniture there that I would start looking at furniture as a way of buying it and selling it. So initially started clearing out houses which were empty of furniture and old furniture, and I bought myself a van, and I started making money. So that when I was 18, I was self-employed, and I stayed like that until I was 35, and that's when I started the Mean Fiddler. But I wasn't really an expert in anything. I just knew a little bit about everything, and I was quite lucky, really. I discovered a painting, which I bought for £10, and in the 60s, I sold it for 7,000, which got me off the ground.
So this was before. What's that show where they go to a park and you bring all your stuff there? You know what I mean? You know that Antiques Roadshow.
Jumble sale.
Yeah. So no, you're like the original Antiques Roadshow. So that painting kind of boosted you up. What made you decide you wanted to start getting into music?
I think it's my family. You know, my grandfather, my uncles, cousins. Everybody played, everybody sang. I didn't have one note in me, so I was more of a facilitator. And now my kids actually are into music, and my daughter's a very well-known artist in Galway. So, you know, it's a...
So one of the things that as an American coming here, I love British music. You had almost the reverse, though. Wasn't that one of your early experiences that helped you set up the Fiddler, is that you went to Nashville and you were like, I love this scene, I want to bring this back. How did that come about?
It was just going to Nashville and buying albums and coming back and listening to albums. And I went there once, and I finally finally decided that I was in this place one night, the honky tonk, and I finally decided that's what I want to do. When I get back, I'm going to actually change my life. And I came back with pictures of this venue, which was Spit and
Can I pause you for a
Sawdust.
second? Were you still? Could you guys turn up Vince's mic? Is that possible? Can you guys hear him okay, or is it just that I'm deaf? Kind of so. Okay. If we could turn up his mic a little bit, that'd be great. Were you in? So I didn't. The chronological. Were you? Or you know what? Maybe try this one because I have a louder voice than you.
It's just me.
There.
Hello?
Oh, that's better. Yeah, that's yeah, and I have a loud voice. So,
Okay.
so what was the order of this? You went to Nashville. Were you still doing furniture at that time? Or
Yes, I
you
was
were?
doing
Okay.
furniture, doing very well. I'd moved on to new furniture by then, and I'd had several shops, but was totally bored. And I decided then, coming back from Nashville, after being there a few times, the place I saw was ideal. It was a Spit and Sawdust. It was great music, great beer, cold beer, which you couldn't get in the UK in those days.
Cold beer.
Cold beer. Well, cold?
Cold beer.
Yeah, cold
Okay,
beer.
sorry, that was American, not Irish accent. Sorry, that was me, not you.
Cold beer.
Cold beer.
So, yeah, it was a good atmosphere. And probably I drank too much of the cold beer. So, and so I took some pictures, went to a friend of mine who was an architect and said, I want to recreate this in London. And I found a place in Harlesden, which was a bit naive. A honky-tonk in Harlesden in those days would have been a ridiculous idea. Anyway, it started, and it worked from there. The first year was terrible. The second year was getting better. And the third year, I got the hang of it and I stopped doing things that I liked and did things that people might just come and see.
I mean, that just sounds so amazing and inspiring to me. During that first year, were you just tempted to throw in the towel because it just wasn't doing what you wanted? Like, how did you create the scene there?
I guess it was a good venue. It had great sound. I think we were the first ones in London to have showers in the dressing room and looked after the acts. And there's always been a thing about the Mean Fiddler where we always looked after the main focus was on the acts. So I think eventually then American bands came over and people like the Pixies and a lot of American bands played it because they liked the idea of it. My competition in those days was the Dingwalls and places like that and the Marquee Club. So we just brought a new angle to it where, it didn't matter how much alcohol the band wanted, I would always give it to them. So it seemed to be a good format. And it was just a niche in the market. We did really well. We got everybody there eventually. It just seemed to work easy. It was like buying furniture, really.
So I had a book last year, Vince, that came out called Why Vinyl Matters. And it was all about records and how I got my interviews for that, as I literally was just massive fangirl and went, okay, who would I want to interview for this book? Is that how you started getting the bands you liked? Was it, bands that you loved?
Yes, basically I've put on every band that I loved. The Mean Fiddler always punched above his weight. I think is what we're doing now again. I put on people like Johnny Cash, Roy Orbison, Emily Harris. Over the years, we put everybody on.
Anyone that did not, has kind of slipped through the net that you wish you would have gotten?
There's probably hundreds of ones that slipped through the net, but we've had a good go at it. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we put on Paul McCartney, which was good, at the Mean Fiddler twice. Rolling Stones, U2, everybody.
Just some small bands.
Yes.
Some small bands. So after the Mean Fiddler, you were brought in to work on Glastonbury. What was your role in that, and how did you change Glastonbury?
Well, that's winding forward a lot, but yeah, Glastonbury was.
Did I just jump over tons and tons of years?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go? Should we go back and talk about?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Glastonbury was. I think the Mean Fiddler. By that time, we had something like 25 venues and 7 festivals and 5 gay clubs and 3 or 4 restaurants. And the opportunity for Glastonbury came about because they'd had problems with crowd control and licensing. And we had a very good record at doing events. And we hooked up with Michael. And we eventually got in with Michael and the Workers' Beer Company, which were my partners in other things. And we turned Glastonbury around. But we only got credited for putting up that big fence. We did, but we did much more than that.
What else? What else did you do? What is a Vince Power signature that is?
I think we had very little input in the bands because Michael wouldn't let us. But I think we made it what it is today in the way of looking at infrastructures and how to treat people. And it's like once you've got that 8 mile of fencing up, you get rid of 95% of the problems. And I think, maybe he's right. Maybe I just did the fence.
Why? How is the experience of a punter, if you would, at a festival? How is that important, do you think?
I think the main thing about a festival is you've got to feel safe in it. And if you don't feel safe and you feel intimidated, then that's not very good. We've been very lucky, but then luck comes with planning, and we had some great people on board our company, like, for instance, Melvin, which loves me. People like Melvin was a great organizer of events. We had a good team, and we worked hard and worked every day, and we've also had our ups and downs, but overall, we'd never really had a fatality at Reading, or to my knowledge, when we ran Glastonbury, we never had a fatality there. And that's, at the end of the day, you don't want to come away thinking that somebody's been fatally injured. And I think that's been our record with venues and festivals.
So just on that same note, you've been involved, you said a second ago, in so many ventures, festivals, restaurants, nightclubs. What is your favorite of these different ventures and why?
I don't know really. When I'm doing something, I liked it. It's a bit like falling in love, I think. When you're in love, you're in love.
Well, you've done eight times, is that what you said?
A bit, no. That was a joke.
Okay.
No, 3 times.
4th time a charm, darling.
3 mothers.
There's a joke in that somewhere, but I've not had enough wine to make it.
I missed it.
Okay. So you like whatever you're working on, that's your favorite thing at that time, do you think?
I think so, yeah. It's just I've just got Subterranea, which is my old club, which I opened in '88. I've just got that back, and it's been open about 2 weeks. So that's my new love.
And there's so much history behind that club, from before you were involved before and now. What is the history of this club, and why did you come back to it?
The history is, it's been a place called Acklam Hall. It had everybody there before me. I think it's had a lot of the West London was a very cool area then for live music, but it seems to have gone over to East London now. We have Joe Strummer there. Bob Marley used to play there, and then when I took it, we opened it in '89, and we had people like the Sound. We had the Soundgarden there, but thinking about Chili Peppers, Foo Fighters, Alanis Morissette, Madonna. Eminem did his first gig there.
Did he jump off the stage? Were you at that gig?
That was James Brown.
James Brown jumped off the stage?
Not the James Brown. James Brown, the editor of NME.
Oh! Homer, did he get into a fight with Eminem?
No, he didn't. He was just full of drugs.
Are you not going to tell us that story? Is that for the biography, not for now?
That's the end of the story. That's what happened. He didn't injure anybody or himself, but he did jump off the stage.
What made you come back to this club? Why this particular club of all the different ventures you've done?
I don't know. It's just an opportunity. It got closed down it was a nightclub. It got closed down for irregularities in the business of opening and trading. So I decided we'd turn it back into a live music venue, and went back to the council, and I got some sort of license at the moment. Not what I want, but it's up and going. and the focus is on music. It's a very plain place, but it's got a brilliant sound system, and it's all you need, really. It's got brilliant bars, and it's great. I just put on 3 nights of Van Morrison and 1 night of Chrissy Hine, and I've got...
3 nights of Van Morrison, I saw that.
He opened that, yeah.
How did you get, I mean, you have the most ridiculous, I'm sure, black book of contacts. Was that through knowing him, or was this a want you had it?
For some reason, he's always opened any place I've ever had.
Really?
So he's probably opened about 30 places.
He'd be pissed off then if you didn't get him. He'd be like...
I just keep telling him that he's opened it, so he wants to keep up the record. I don't think he remembers it, but he has definitely opened every place I've ever had. So, you know, we're starting off again, and it's a great venue, and it's exciting. It's what's needed in the west of London. You would think that it's not what's needed by the way the council and the police treat you and blame you for the past history of it in the last 10 years, but, you know, I like a good fight.
I know, well, you know, that's probably a different interview altogether. One of the things that I found really inspiring is that you have been so up and then so down. In 2011, your company was valued at £10 million, and then just over a year later, less than £300,000. How do you come back from such ups and downs and keep going on? What motivates you to keep on pushing forward?
Well, it was £39 million for a start.
Sorry, The Guardian is bad, so sorry.
When we sold the company, it was £39 million. I don't know when they valued it, but it was a lot less than 10 million in 2010. Just, I don't know, really 3 recessions at one time. 2008, there was a recession in Ireland. I had a festival in Spain, and I had a festival in the UK, which was a hop farm, and the whole thing crashed. And I lost a lot of money. But, you know, money never matters anyway. There's only a few things you can do with money. You can do a lot more things with your imagination.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Trademark right here. So just, you didn't really say that, like, so what makes you keep going, though, at all this? Do you feel like the money is not important?
I don't know, really. I guess it's like just, you got to get up and do something, haven't you? And you got to get out of bed and do something. I wasn't very good at reading. You know, I just like the idea of the challenge of doing it, and the feeling of meeting people and watching on an opening night like Subterranean, and the amount of people that were so pleased to see the venue back in the area. It's just really, really satisfying. You get a great feeling from it.
You kind of answered one of my next question, which was going to be favorite part of pulling together an event, which is just seeing kind of the end product. It sounds like is really important for you.
It's having a vision and be able to see the vision, you know, and all the obstacles you don't see. You see the vision greater than the obstacles, and eventually, if you keep seeing that, you'll either go broke or get there.
There's a story about Hell's Angels I'm supposed to ask you about.
Right, okay.
Well, so I'm asking you, how did you stop Hell's Angels coming from Reading Festival? Because weren't they running it when you were kind of called in to take over? What was their association? And I mean, I'm terrified of the Hell's Angels.
They used to, I didn't know much about Hell's Angels. I just knew they existed, and they were generally over 50. So they drove into the backstage area of Reading, and they wanted to know what facilities we had arranged for them. And I said, well, the box office is over there. And there was a bit of a standoff. We had plenty of security, so I think they just went. They didn't. It wasn't a big deal, really. They didn't come back.
Did you have an actual face-off with them then?
No, literally, that just was about 10 minutes and a lot of revving, but nothing else.
So this is kind of a bog standard question, but top 3 artists that you have put on an event with, and why?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think it's got to be Roy Orbison, because I love Roy Orbison. I grew up listening to Roy Orbison. Bob Dylan, I can't really, and Van Morrison. I mean, there were so many, like, Neil Young. I mean, there's endless. Joan Baez, Patti Smith, Morrissey.
She's on tour again, isn't? I think Joan
Yeah,
Baez
she's
isn't
great.
she?
She's great. She's amazing. There's so many. I mean, I think the Mean Fiddler and myself and everybody around me, we've all put on a lot of stuff. I mean, everything. You probably could pick an act out of the top of your head, and we've probably put it on.
Are you still excited about music, Vince? Or
Yes, I'm more excited now.
I can tell. I can tell.
This is my first time ever doing anything like this, and I'm going to kill somebody when I get down. I think it's
do you need more?
Over there.
Do you want to bring the wine up? I think he needs a top. Do you need a top up?
No, you need it.
I probably do. Yeah, I probably do need it. So
I don't remember that one.
do you want to come up and tell the story, Jonah? His first legal riff? Rave. Oh yeah. Were you putting it on, or were you an attendee?
Well, we did. Margaret Thatcher closed down dance events, which were raves, and then we went back to the police and some councils and said, look, this is not going to go away. We need to do it legally. And Melvin was involved in it with myself, so we finally got a license again for legal raves. And, it had all this. It was right through the ecstasy period. And, we did it in a place called Otmore Park in Oxford. And we got 40,000 there.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was great, but they never had us back again. And then we moved it to Luton. And that was good. I don't remember any particular incident, John, sorry. The Phoenix. Right. Oh, yeah. Well, we had this was the year that Glastonbury wasn't happening, and I'd started a thing called the Phoenix Festival in Stratford-on-Avon, and we had the sort of, what was it called? The brigade, anyway, there was all the van loads of hippies coming to get in free, so we had a blockade from 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 3 in the morning because I wouldn't let him in, and the police they wanted to arrest me because I wouldn't let him in, because I was blocking the street, and I said, if I let him in, then they're in. And they said, put him in a holding area. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. You have to deal with him. So they dealt with him at 3 that morning. Unfortunately, it was, people, the whole of the street or the road in Stratford-on-Avon was blocked up all the way back to Cheltenham or someplace. And it was caused a huge amount of chaos. And eventually they came with helicopters and things that lift wagons and cleared the road. And that was one memorable night. Is that the one?
Are you doing an autobiography anytime soon?
I did it in 2006 and never published it because that's like 12 years ago now, and I got much more interesting things to say in the last 12 years.
Is there going to be part 2 then, do you think?
It's a bit like fiction anyway. Nobody's going to believe it.
It does feel like, yeah.
So I think it's based on fiction.
So you're working right now on a new festival, the Irish Music Festival, and I'm not going to say this right. Fees?
Near enough. Fish.
Fish?
No, fish.
Fesh.
F-E-I-S. F-E-S-H. Fish.
I'll let you. I'm saying it.
Fish.
Yeah,
it means
fish.
festival.
Why was it important to work on this event for you?
Well, it's just because I could do it, and I knew everybody, and I was here in this lovely place, and I was speaking to Culture Liverpool, and we were speaking about another issue, another opportunity, and somebody mentioned that I used to do the Flower, which was now, the name is now owned, if you can own the name Flower, the name is owned by Live Nation. So they said, can you do an Irish music festival? And I said, yeah, of course. And here we are.
What are your hopes for that festival?
The day after, really.
What is... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. What is the most challenging part, do you think, about organizing an event? After all the history, is there something still after all these years, you're like, oh God, I don't want to deal with blah, 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 blah. Like there's something that's not your favorite part that you'd rather have someone else do?
No, I think it's fine, really. I mean, there are times when you get really, nervous about it, and you wake up early in the morning and thinking, "Oh my God, I've got to come to Liverpool today and sit on this stage because of the
But
fish."
you're doing great.
No, Jonah's going to get it when I come.
Jonah.
Or Kevin, I don't know. No, I'm pleased to be here. I mean, the last time I was in Liverpool before this was when I was a furniture dealer, buying furniture from mail order houses and stuff. So
You're kidding.
Yes.
You've not been here in that long.
I've been back and forward occasionally, but not really to see the improvements and to see how really beautiful it is, and how, it's really, really impressive.
Does your house, by the way, have the most amazing furniture, or did the wives take it all away? I have to ask. That's all I could think when I was reading your bio. I'm like, awesome, he's playing these festivals, but his house must be decorated gorgeously.
It used to be, when I had lots of money, but you'd never guess where I live now.
Oh, I read this. So a reporter spent like a weekend with you. Are you in Kingston upon Thames?
No.
That's where I live. I was hoping to run into you in the neighborhood. Where are you? Where's the bachelor pad, Vince?
I'm in a boat up on the canal.
A boat?
Yes. Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
What's wrong with that? It's a nice boat.
Do you get that? Is wow. What was the inspiration to live on a boat? That sounds so fun.
I don't know. Owing the bank so much money. No letterboxes.
You're not inviting me over then? Is that what you're trying to say?
Sorry?
You're not going to invite me over? Is that you're a man on the move in the boat?
Yes. Yeah. No. I've got a permanent moving, so.
So Vince, I can't. This is going to be mortifying to you, but it seems I have one friend that every time she and I get together and hit the vino too much, we're like, we want to do a festival, a good music festival, and then that's as far as it goes. What would be like your top tips for someone old, young, or in between that thinks they want to put on a festival? What would be kind of your top 3 things to think about?
Well, I think if you want to do it and you think about it and the idea doesn't go out of your head, then you should do it, and do it like on a smaller level. And rather than going for big named headliners, just build a brand which you can actually which will sell the festival better, because I think what's happening now, we have 500 or 600 festivals a year here, and a lot of them are built on the artist, and unfortunately there's not enough main artists for all the festivals now. So if you find some niche in a brand and build it as your brand, and you're there for the long run, and you can survive the first 5 years, then you're probably there for the next 15.
I think that's I had never thought of it that way, but that's so true. The festival's the brand instead of the artist being their brand. Because there's only so many artists that can really do a big headline gig, isn't there? Like the Foo Fighters, for example, are booked up probably for 5 or 6 years already.
Everybody's booked now.
Yeah.
The world is very small. It's a very tiny place. One time, bands didn't go to Asia or China or any place like that. They probably went to America or Europe, and that's it. There's very, very, very few real headliners, and then you see festivals advertised. You could pick a lot of them, which I'm not going to, because I've made the same mistake where if you're locked in a festival, you have to put on a headliner, and the headliner sometimes is not the one you want, but you have to carry on with the festival, and that's the beginning of the slippery slope.
I'm being told that we're almost out of time. I'm going to ask you one more question, then if anyone has questions, I'll turn over to you guys. How important is, as a promoter, has it been having relationships with the artists? You gave the example of Van Morrison, who you've known for a long time. Has that been important, do you think?
I think I'm flattered with Van, because I don't think I've ever done anything for him apart from annoy him. It's nice. But I would my advice to somebody with artists is just give them their space, and don't ever think you're their friend, because they're in their own zone, and you just do what you do best and let them get on with it, and be polite, but never think you met a new buddy.
All right, that's good advice. I'm gonna turn it over to this very good-looking crowd of people. Young man in the front row in the plaid shirt.
I know obviously you created an extra day at Hot Farm for Prince, and I just wondered, that festival performance has gone down as like one of his most legendary dates. He obviously notoriously didn't play many festivals at all. I just wondered, did you have any contact with him or any relationship with him on the day, and what was that experience like, obviously working with such a superstar?
It was great, really. Man, that was one festival that didn't make money in the end, and it was a good concept of a festival. But good doesn't always equal profit. But with Prince, I think the issue with Prince was that he didn't make his mind up until very late, and because of my whatever, I put it on anyway. I think we had something like 5 to 6 weeks to sell it, and people didn't. It was unbelievable. People didn't believe that he was playing. We already had about 25,000 there. I needed another 10,000 to pay his fees. And a promoter always makes it happen because they want to make it. So you do the figures. You say, oh, that can easily happen. I can easily get another 10,000 with Prince, which of course you could. But for some reason, it didn't sell enough. But Prince had a great time. Never seen so many people crying at a festival in my life. Sadly, it ended up in his last festival. And he said 2 words. I think, actually, no, it's more than 2 words. He came to the dressing room and he didn't like pink. So he said, I'm not coming back until you get some purple sofas. So where you get purple sofas at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, I don't know, but we did get them. He came back in, and then at the end of the show, I said, thank you. And he walked down the steps and stopped and looked back at me. He said, no, thank you. And that was it.
Good old Prince. Anyone else? Yes, young man.
Yes? Well, it's always a passion, really. Big venues don't really, especially in London, everything is so much per square foot. So anything can be more profitable than a live music venue in London, really. So you're always faced with that, where the landlord always wants more money. I was lucky that place was my own. That was a freehold, and we ran it for 20 years. But we had some great bands there. It was a small bar. But I've actually got back into Kilburn again. I'm opening a place in a couple of months. It's an old Irish bar, which I'm trying to. So it's going to be the new Powers. So you're welcome back. It's on the high road. Yes, yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, I think it's up for the planners to change the rules, because pubs are what more as accommodation than actually community places now. So you're always battling with these sort of gastro pubs owned by major pub companies and run from a bank of computers. Same food, same attitude, no community. But I guess it's the way it is. Yeah.
That's a low note to end it. That's kind of depressing. We're out of time. We have to end it on a high note, Vince.
Oh, good. You're out of time.
Yeah. Has it been that bad? Has it been that painful? I'm sorry.
It's a nightmare. I've been.
Well, I think you've been wonderful. Let's give a round of applause, Vince Bauer.